Hello and welcome to another episode of Journey with Us. Today I want to do a reflection on the past episodes. Chapter 1 of Genesis, ending at verse 4 of chapter 2. What is it that we gathered in those episodes? I want to put it together for those who may not have the patience to go through all those episodes. We started our meditation of chapter 1 of Genesis reading the words, "In the beginning, God." And when I read that verse, suddenly I was asleep and suddenly I woke up in the night thinking about those words. And what struck me so forcefully in the middle of the night was this, that even as I begin to read in the beginning, what is happening is, it takes me right into the very presence of God, right into the throne room of God, where you and I are privileged to listen in to the great conversation that God is having within the Godhead in the community of the Trinity. We will talk about the nature of God that the Bible talks about. But what the picture that comes to my mind is like a fly on the wall. I am listening to this great conversation about the origins, the beginning of things that God is having within Himself in the community of that triune God. The Father speaking to the Son speaking to the Father, the Holy Spirit, creating that fellowship. And I am invited. I am like someone standing and listening in to the conversation that God is having within Himself about our origins, about our beginnings. We are invited to listen as they talk about the beginnings of the universe, the world that we live in, the land, the water, the animals, the birds, the fishes, the trees, the grass, and in the midst of all this, about our own beginnings as humans. We are told about our first home, our first parents, our place in the world that God created. It tells me everything that exists is because God has willed it. He has permitted it to be. He brought it into being with the sheer force of His words. He spoke it and it was. It is good to remind us that we exist because God has willed it. And without Him permitting, you and I would not be here. And if this be true, my friends, we can trust Him to take care of us. Not only He brings us into existence, but He is also the God who sustains and holds all things together. Chapter 1 also tells me that everything was planned and purposeful. It was not a random act. It was not an accident. God's creation has a purpose. In this truth, you and I can be confident that we have a purpose, and the purposes of God in our lives, God will bring it to pass, and God will see it to completion. It also tells me something about us as humans. We stand as one before God. We are all children of one parent, Adam and Eve, whom God created in His own image and likeness. God has a special relationship with us in that He speaks to us. In speaking, He has shown Himself. We are invited to see something about this God. And in His speaking, He has also given us that marvelous freedom to respond to Him in love and in obedience. We also see something amazing. Work is good. We are called to work in God's garden, to be His caretaker, to be His representatives. As one who bears the image and likeness of God, we are called to serve. And we saw in chapter 2 verses 1 to 4, in God we can have rest. Because with the living God there is rest. The rest that comes not from exhaustion, but from a confidence, a trust in God that He is able. He is sufficient. He takes care of His creation. I can rest in His rest. In His rest. I want to thank you for taking this journey with me to look at chapter 1 of Genesis. We will look into the next chapter and see how to make sense of our current world that we find ourselves in. Thank you once again for listening. If you have liked this, subscribe, share. Till the next time, God bless you. Thank you.